In this episode of Straumann Open Mic, I talked to Dr. Michael Scherer from the US, who shares his journey to becoming Chief Clinical Officer at Zest Dental Solutions and provides exclusive insights in their new technology, Locator Fixed. This technology bridges affordability and efficiency in full arch fixed restorations while creating an incredible social impact. I'm Dr. Christian Jarry. This is Straumann Open Mic. You mentioned you're a computer nerd who happened to go to dental school. Sadly, I know very little about computer, so I guess our conversation is going to be quite short today.
Yeah, computers have always been one of those things that I've always enjoyed doing. And I was blessed in the capacity that I played a pathological level of video games growing up. So plenty of Mario Brothers and all these things growing up. And I still remember too, because everybody was saying, stop playing video games. You need to go and study and it'll rot your brain playing the video games. And my parents had the mindset to know that computers were the future. And it's funny too, because we think about what inspires us to go into dentistry. In many ways, my background was in computers, video games, and little parts and pieces. As you say, oh, the new video game came out, now I have to go figure out how to build a new computer or assemble the parts and pieces. And fixing a tooth is not so different, So background definitely is compatible.
Well, with all jokes aside, I love your enthusiasm for dentistry, your passion for dentistry, and in particular, your interest in technology and how far you have gone developing your interest in the technologies for retentive solutions for full arch. In that context, that makes you my best friend, and welcome to Straumann Open Mic.
It's a pleasure to be here, Dr. Jarry, and thank you for the opportunity. I really have two main clinical passions, and number one is implant dentistry, and being able to treat patients where you see just this instant reaction, whether it's snap-in teeth or screw-in teeth or permanent teeth or crowns. There's something rewarding about a patient walking in with no tooth and then walking out with a tooth. And then on top of that, tapping into my background in computers and in video games, I knew that we could adapt a lot of the technology to what we do with intraoral scanning, 3D printing, milling, etc., to be able to apply it to that original passion, which is implant dentistry. And to tell you the truth, I'm pretty humble about it. I'm a very average clinician. And I'm the type of person where the analogy is like this. If you gave me an easel and asked me to draw a painting of a person's face, it would literally look terrible. Like, I just don't have that skill. I wasn't blessed with that skill. But you give me a computer mouse and I can draw the Mona Lisa. And so I knew that with dentistry, I could adapt digital technology to make my decent dentistry exceptional. And I've shown that over and over again with intraoral scanning specifically. And I cannot imagine going back to making impressions with PVS anymore, for at least tooth dentistry. But it's been a lot of fun combining those two over the years.
So let's rewind the tape a little bit. So you graduated as a dentist, State University of Ohio, Columbus, and right after this you took some roles in San Diego, the other coast, Florida, and also took professorship roles in Las Vegas, Loma Linda. There's a bit of a wanderlust there. How was your career path? I'm curious.
I'm very blessed to have the background that I have had, and I have a passion for dentistry and being able to teach and educate in dentistry. And dentistry has been a blessing for me as well, and being able to connect with dentists not only around the United States, but then also globally, whether it's in Europe or all over the world. And it's really a passion to be able to go ahead and realize that we can impact the quality of lives of our patients. That passion is being able to just say, okay, when we think about our clinical practices, the four walls, I can make an impact there. To those patients and really do incredible things. And then when I go out and I teach, I can go ahead and impact the dentists that can then impact thousands of patients and potentially millions of patients to improve their quality of life around the world. So would we call it wanderlust? Yes. I'm very blessed to be married to a wonderful person, and she's also an orthodontist, and she loves to travel as well. So it's been fun.
So you had a taste of your private practice, then the academic setting, and at some point you joined forces with the industry. You joined Zest, that has a very highly respected reputation and removable solutions for full arch. How was this shift towards the industry?
You know, the most important thing about us in dentistry is we have to be real, right? And being able to understand what it's like to treat patients on a day-to-day basis is critical. And I've been a clinician, a dentist now for the past 15 years, and I still maintain a clinical practice. And over that time period, I've gone from a residency to being an associate employed and then owning my own clinical practice. And now I get the pleasure of being full-time at Zest Dental Solutions as Chief Clinical Officer. And we always come back to the most important thing with us being as dentists is being able to go ahead and understand what it's like the day-to-day of a dentist. And then also be able to apply that towards the academic setting, balancing out the day-to-day step 1 through 10 of how I do this and I get that. How I treat this person and get to do this. How I get to ask a patient, how can I help you? And to be able to coach them through the process on the clinical side. And then when we go the academic side, we understand the why of why we would make that decision as clinicians based upon the science, the research, the background. And then we get to balance out the need of the industry, which is going ahead and making solutions for clinicians and academics, ultimately being able to do that in a way that serves the patient, which is really the most important part of the equation, is being able to make the impact upon those patients. And everything that we do, whether it's the clinical, academic, and industry, is about making people's lives better.
And that's an honorable decision. Locator has built an incredibly respected and trustworthy reputation in removable full arch solutions. And now there's the option of fixed locator, Locator Fixed, which you have been deeply involved in the development. Could you share about this new technology with us?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. You know, I even think back to when I first got started in dental school, I first was exposed to overdentures through Locator. And I still remember the first patient I treated, and it was a family member, family friend, somebody dear and loved to our family. And she was suffering. And she was over at the house one day. It was a family get together, and we were having a wonderful meal. And I noticed that when she bit down, it was painful for her. And I said, Eula, what's going on? She goes, well, Michael, I've got a sore tooth. And I was a second year in dental school at the time. And I said, come on out to the dental school. Let's see what we can do. Hey, I'd love for us and my professors to help you out. And we started along the journey of saying, gosh, the situation is dire. We have to take out all of her teeth. And it was traumatic for me. As a family friend, I get to see her, somebody I've known my entire life. My gosh, we're gonna have to take out all of your teeth and get you dentures? And I started to learn as we went that it's not just getting dentures, it's also having implants as an option. When I was in school, we went with the Zest Locator for Eula, and we placed 2 implants. Amazingly enough, I'm here at the Open Mic with Straumann. They were 2 Straumann tissue level implants, my first case, with 2 Zest Locators. And I was inspired because I saw it make a transformative change in Eula's life. All of a sudden, she went from pain, infection, sadness, can't eat. Now she has a 2-implant overdenture. She can eat anything. And that was 17 years ago. And I go back to visit Eula every year with my little core tool and my little instruments. Still has those implants to this day, and they're healthy, and she's loving her teeth. And so I was inspired by Zest and Locator, like many other young dental students, as well as young dentists. It's a powerful image to be able to make an impact in a patient's life. And growing from my own clinical practice, where I've always had a passion for removable overdentures, and especially with Locator, when the idea of being able to do a fixed full arch on Locator seemed really amazing to me, because I've always known it as a removable. And I thought to myself, Eula was pretty happy with removable. Why would I do fixed with a locator. And I thought to myself, when I was just doing a 2-implant overdenture, I was getting pretty happy patients. But then I realized, fast forward, I'm in my own clinical practice. A lot of patients ask for a fixed full arch as their best, their premium. Many patients like Eula that are happy with dentures and a little snaps to feel better, very happy. But there's also patients that would look at that and say, I want more permanent-like teeth. As a result, could we apply what is so good about Zest Locator, the process, the abutment, the parts, and being able to take that experience of Eula and put it towards more patients that would normally say no to removable overdentures because they want permanent or fixed teeth. And as a result, Locator Fixed is just that. Same abutment, same implants that you're used to, same Zest Locator, same clinical workflows like I used on Eula, but now a fixed full arch, doesn't come in, come out, to be able to give to patients where they can bite down on something hard.
Now I get it. So basically, the abutments are the same. The new technology goes on the housings and the matrices. What are the changes?
Yeah, with Locator Fixed, what's cool about it is it's the exact same Zest Locator abutment that you would use for your tissue level, your bone level, your BLX, you name it. What happens is that the abutment's the same, but the housing and the inserts are new. The only thing that's new is the housings and the inserts. The exact same clinical workflow. If you like doing a chairside pickup, do a chairside pickup. If you like having the lab process it, do a lab process. The only parts that are new is the housing and the inserts. Then on top of it, the prosthetic design is new. So we want to design and make a prosthesis very much like a standard fixed full arch, convex and hygienic as well. And that's really the only difference. The exact same impression copings that you would use for your locator removable, the exact same analogs, the exact same laboratory components. And that's cool because it's simple.
It's a paradigm shift. And what could you say, what are the challenges dentists are facing today, which now Locator Fixed is addressing?
Yeah, if we think about products that have come out in the market that have truly made an impact where there wasn't necessarily a space before, Locator Fixed is that product. Because what it does is it doesn't really disrupt what we do. So in my clinical practice, screw retained, fixed full arch, very much like ProArch, is the best. It is the premium option. And then we look at overdentures as a very good option. And historically, there's never been something in the middle. Locator Fix aims and is really well adapted to fit in between implant overdenture, snap in, snap out removable teeth, and screw retained fixed full arch. And what happens is that if you take a look at how those two mold together, I can think of that as a paradigm change or shift, but in all reality, it's just giving myself and us as clinicians another option for treating our patients.
Now let's get more practical. Like any option, any solution in the industry, we have do's and don'ts, guidelines, step by step that we should strictly follow. What are some of these watch outs that we must consider with Locator Fixed?
Yeah, so Locator Fixed is a snap-in fixed full arch that is truly fixed. So I know it sounds a little bit strange, like it's a snap, there's no screws, but it's a locator. Is that really fixed? And the answer is absolutely. It's truly fixed. Now, we also recognize that with a snap-in, snap-out feature, we have some pros and then we have some things to watch out for. So number one, the pro is you have no screw channel. So for your prosthesis, you don't need as much bone reduction to be able to accomplish a fixed full arch. Because historically, the weak part of a full arch prosthesis is that little tiny hole where a patient bites down and could cause a crack right through that thinner area. So with Locator Fixed, since we don't have those screw channels and holes, we could do a fixed full arch in the prosthetic space of an overdenture, 9 to 11 millimeters of prosthetic space compared to 13 to 15 millimeters for a bar or 15 to 18 millimeters for a screw retained. Now that's an awesome benefit. And then on top of it too is we can do chairside pickup to get a truly passive fitting prosthesis. Now, some risks or things to watch out for, like you asked about too, since it's a snap-in prosthesis that doesn't have screws, we do want to really watch our cantilever and then also how we design the prosthesis for cleansability. Number one, it is an indication where you can do fixed full arch in 20 degrees of angulation and up to 40 degrees of total angulation correction with the snaps, just like locator removable. However, one thing to watch out for, since it's a snap-in, snap-out bridge, we want to be mindful of the opposing prosthesis and the cantilever. So ideally, we want a patient that is, with natural teeth or an opposing dentition that allows us to limit the cantilever to a 1-to-1 cantilever ratio, which is going to be different from that of screw receiving bridges or fixed full arch bridges like ProArch, because in those cases, we can be up to 1.5 times the cantilever. So automatically that's a risk. So if I have a patient that looks at me and says, but doctor, are you going to put 4 teeth back there instead of 2 or 3? That's a risk. Sometimes that can happen. So that's something to watch out for with Locator Fixed. We want to make sure that we look at the opposing occlusion. I can get to that 1-to-1 cantilever, especially if I have opposing a complete denture. If I'm opposing natural teeth, I want to really watch out for that cantilever as well, maybe even shorten the cantilever. On top of that, we want to watch out for patients that are bruxers. So the patients that have a history of bruxism or any sort of signs of parafunctional habits, we want to limit that cantilever to 0.5 to 1. So when we start thinking about indications of Locator Fixed, we really want to think about it as fitting into our full arch all-on-X style practice as a middle tier option. If we want to get to 1.5 to 1 cantilever and in a patient that potentially is a bruxer, I would probably consider something a little bit more like a screw receiving full arch bridge. But when we're thinking about a patient, especially like opposing a complete denture, a patient that wants a mid-price option, flexibility somewhere between overdenture and fixed full arch, the indications are really there for that.
That was on the watch out part. Now on the positive side, we have the Sell Me This Pen session. So right off the bat, 3 reasons why clinicians should consider Locator Fixed in their daily practice.
Yeah, so
One.
Number one, simplicity. Okay, for me as a busy clinician, you as a busy clinician as well, and for clinicians out there that are looking at this saying, I'm a little intimidated by how much time it takes for screw receiving prosthetics. They're wonderful. It's still my premium option, but it takes a lot more time to do a conversion, and then also the parts and pieces, and then the 1 screw test, and then the labs. What lab do I use? The number one thing for me, simplicity, and then being able to know that if it's a locator abutment, it's the same impression copings. We don't necessarily have to be as crazy about the 1 screw test. It's optional with locator if you want to do a verification index in a jig. Optional, but still something that you can do if you feel comfortable with doing it. But the neat part is, this is with the simplicity. If I want to do a chair side pickup to ensure a passive fitting prosthesis, awesome. So that's number one. Number two is essentially going to be the cost savings to the patient. So being able to go ahead and do something that's kind of like a middle ground option to the patient, where screw receiving is still going to be the best, the premium, and then locator or overdenture prosthetics with either locator, Novalock, et cetera, is going to be kind of the good prosthesis. And then that middle ground is going to be Locator Fixed. So number two, cost effectiveness as well. And then the number three, it's really all about the hygiene, and then also the simplicity of the hygiene when we get to our hygiene protocol, because when we think about it, how excited do we get as clinicians when we see those screw channels sticking up at us and the patient's like, so you're going to take off the bridge today? And I'm like, you got 30 minutes? Start drilling on the prosthesis, finding the screw channels. It's good dentistry, wonderful dentistry, removing the prosthetics every 6, 8, 10 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years with screw receiving. But it's laborious. With Locator Fixed, I simply just go pop, 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 and the prosthesis comes out in less than 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and it fits into my everyday maintenance and hygiene protocols. So, did I sell the pen?
Sold.
Sold.
Dr. Scherer, thank you for your always positive energy coming all the way from the US to tell us about your career aspirations and your excitement towards full arch solution, and to clarify all the points on Locator Fixed, which seems to be very promising, a paradigm shift in full arch solutions fixed. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure, Dr. Jarry, and thank you for the opportunity, both for you and to the entire team here at Straumann Group. We share an energy and passion, and it's really all about being able to collaborate, team approach, and then ultimately to make our patients' quality of lives better around the world. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. If you're interested to learn more about Locator Fixed, Dr. Scherer has recorded with Straumann a webinar, an entire learning module with product presentation, features and benefits, step by step from the planning to execution on how to use and implement Locator Fixed in your daily practice right off tomorrow, for example. Click on the link below and enjoy. See you in the next episode of Straumann Open Mic.